Hello everyone, and I'm here again. I'm recording two videos. Probably this one will take more time to upload in the channel because it's longer. It's planned to be longer, probably will be longer. The other one is the video of the new moon. That if you find this one like a month later, you will not find the other video because when I made these videos about the moon and I delete them after weeks because I don't like to have um, content that is not atemporal in my stuff. Something that is from 2 years ago talking about the new moon in, I don't know, Sagittarius is like useless right now when all the planets are in a different position. So I always delete those videos. If you're watching this one very close to the date of publication, it's probably the other one available right now. And Happy New Moon. This video, I was talking with my friend about how many types of witches are actually. This friend of mine is a client. We were consulting, doing some cleansings with watermelons and coconuts and other stuff. And my friend were talking me about, it's a client of many years who just turned in my friend, and were telling me about books that she's reading with her partner. And she was telling me about these books and how many ways of witchcraft are and blah blah blah. And she asked me how many types of witches are, and I was like, well, I have this inner joke in my family. I think that the creator of the joke is my mom, and I always repeat this over and over that it's just two kind of witches. Now I think that there are three, but the third type just exists on internet, which is the internet witch, which is a version of the second one. Now, I think that it's just two types of witches. It's something that my mom teach me. I was like 14 years old. We were in the market. She was buying some velones, these very big candles, like what you call pillar candle. In Spanish, we call it velones. It's like a vela, but bigger. She was buying some of those because she don't work with little candles, always with big velones. And we were reading all of these books, and we have this in Latin America, the book of San Cyprian, the witch sorcerer is like really incredibly popular. I like to compare the popularity of San Cyprian's book of spells in Latin America with the Blue Book of Witchcraft here in the United States. The popularity is comparative. Here everybody talks about that Blue Book of Witchcraft. In Latin America, the conversation is about San Cyprian's book, the history of San Cyprian's book, and is to approach of the conversation like two types of witches. The people who buy the book and practice what is in the book, the people who buy the book and just buy other editions to compare notes. Very Bosch people with a lot of knowledge, lack of practice, but a lot of knowledge, a lot of theory in their minds. That book is so popular that they have many editions, especially in Venezuela and in Colombia. They have the book of blue magic, the book of black magic, the book of white magic, the book of red magic, the book of green magic. All of them are practically the same book with the same cover, just change some colors, the title, and they add or take off or change a little bit in every chapter, adding more herbs, adding more stuff. And the popular one were white magic, black magic, red magic with blood, and have a very beautiful chapter about the red dragon. The green magic, which is about herbs and plants and flowers, essentially herbs and plants, not too many flowers, like just three types. I was 14 years old when I seen the store in the same Botanica, which was a very small place in the market. like the book of blue magic, and they was like, what is that? And they says to me, the vendor says to me, uh, it's about stars. It's like stars magic, but with another title. So blue magic is like things with the sky, and the vendor says yes. I say the vendor because I don't remember right now if it was a she, he, or they. Probably I don't know. And I liked the cover, the concept. My mom was just like, oh, commercializing stuff, uh, because she's very raw in her language, and she was like, that's just commercialized stuff. It's just another version of the same. And I was like, I was thinking, wow, it's interesting because we find magic everywhere. And in that moment, I was starting high school. I was in my 14th, so I was in my second year of high school. I remember in that moment I actually had read all the Sanskrit book and the Book of Solomon because my mom had it in home. So this for me was like, well, Babylonian magic is a lot about reading the stars, and they have uh, the Babylonian Sumerian magic and Akkadians. They see the stars. They have some kind of concept similar to what right now is astrology. They see the future in the stars. They read the omens, and they see the past in the stars. So why not think that you can actually do some magic from there? And for me, it was interesting. For my mom, not so much in that moment. I'm not sure right now, but in that moment, she said, it's two kind of witches: the witches who practice, and the witches who knows. And that reminds me that famous quote that is not so real right now, which says, I think that comes from Italian, and says, I don't remember how to pronounce that in Italian. I really don't remember how. Um, but in English, it's something like who don't have talent teach. People who really don't know stuff, they just teach about that stuff. For some time was like, a way to criticize people who are just teaching amazing stuff, and it's like, why you don't have talent on this area, you're teaching that. Like people who teach, I'm not trying to dismiss anyone, I promise. It's like when you see these amazing musician teachers who have this amazing voice and amazing talent, but why they are not professional musicians? Or these people who is like amazing on something and they know everything about something, but they are not doing it, they are just teaching it. But right now, we are in the year 2023, and people can do both things. You can see amazing singers offering amazing professional singers, Grammy winners offering classes on singing on internet. So it's like people can do both. So the quote is like very dated, because people can do both things right now. This is not the 90s with lack of internet. The world was entirely different. You need to dedicate yourself to just one thing. Now you can do two, three jobs at the same time. And what my mom told me in that moment, I keep that in my mind, like, even if this quote is dated, the quote of my mom continues being real, like, it's two kind of witches. And she always said, it's the kind of witch, and I continue repeating the same stuff. It's amazing people out there who knows a lot. But you know that if you are a practitioner and you have years of practice, and imagine that in a moment of your life, you say, okay, I need to do a spell for this. You know that those are not the witches that you will ask for help. You probably will go to the Botanica with the owner who knows a lot of stuff. Ask to the owner, help me with this, or ask to a friend of yours that you know that knows a lot. You will not go to the author or the blogger on witchcraft, because most of the times, I'm not saying everybody, we need to be extremely careful these days on internet, because everybody takes out of context whatever you say. People who don't have a life, and you see these people is like they know a lot, but they don't practice too much because they are so busy reading and writing that it's like you write this 200 spells in your website. Okay, perfect. We know that you never have the time to put into practice these 200 spells, because if you create of your own 100 or 200 or 600 love spells, that means that your love life is probably not the best one, because you should have just one or two. But that applies to me too at the same time, because in my first book, when I published my first book in Spanish in 2015, I remember that the editor told me it's too many love spells in the book, and I said yes, but it's not because of me, it's because I have been practicing for years, and I have many clients, and for every client I don't do the same thing. I try to always take, this is a spell, let me change some things for this client, and when this spell works for this one, let me change a little bit for this other one. And when a client, for example, comes to you asking for this love spell, and you are like, okay, it's new moon, let me experiment with this, a love spell for new love, to bring someone new in your life, or you need to do this love spell in the full moon, so you write something for the full moon and you craft the spells very well personalized for that person. I have the personal theory that it's just my theory. I'm not saying it's real. For me it is, but not need to be for you. But I think that when you put a spell of yours, and I do this a lot because I really like to teach, I like to engage with people in teaching. But I think that when you put a spell out there on internet, while even you are giving a lot of exposition to the spell, that does not matter so much. But when many people is practicing the same spell without any change, I think that in some way that spell just lost magic, some energy, because it's too many people trying to craft the same spell. I think that the level of exposition just turned random. It's like when people try to practice letter by letter, line by line, the book of St. Cyprian or the book of Solomon, and they then are asking, well, nothing happens when I did the spell work. The demon never appeared. Nothing happens. I was expecting, well, that book has been around for like 92 years, that edition that you has. If you imagine that every year they print like 500 or 600 copies just in your country, and we're talking about at least 26 countries who talk Spanish and have different editions of the same book, that means that thousands of people are having the book. And if you assume that from those thousands of people, at least 10% of them or 9% of them are putting in practice the same spell work, I don't think that actually will result. I think that the spell work in the book is a base, a core that you use to create your own. And when you have years of practice, other demons and other specters and other creatures will appear to you, which are not in the book, and you take those names in secret and keep it for you, and nobody else will know about it, and this is part of your personal craft and your personal practice. But that is something that you just learn if you put into practice. But if you are just collecting books, you are not really learning from the practice. It's like reading all the books about how going to the gym, how do a good workout, how I remember these books on sports, which were like very popular in my country in a moment, like in 2009, people were collecting books about sports, people who actually don't practice any sport. They know everything about the sport, but they don't know how to practice. It's like, it's difficult to learn to wait if you don't have all the materials in your hands to actually wait if you are just reading. So this doesn't apply to everything, but it's things in life that you just learn from the practice. And it's two types of witches essentially. Now, I come to North America. I came from Venezuela in 2015. If we were, because I continue having contact with my friends and people, and actually have contact with my comment regularly in there. If you contact them today, they don't still using the word witch. Actually, not either in Peru or in Brazil. Or even in Argentina, people continue using the word bruja and brujo. Um, because for us the word is the term is brujeria, word that comes from Spanish from Spain, is a result of the colonization, and brujeria comes from the Catalan. Uh, so it's a very complex terminology when you come to United States and you're talking about witchcraft. Because brujeria is a very regional thing. When you are in Latin America and you talk about brujeria, you assume that everybody in your area in Latin America, in that um, subcontinent, um, we all practice brujeria. And if you had a chance, like I had to travel a lot, to go to different places, you will find that everybody have their own perception of what is brujeria. When you come to the United States, they assume that brujeria is witchcraft, and now we have this modern culture way to use the term brujeria just to refer to Latin American folk practices, which is very cool. Uh, at the same time, it's complex because every time that you read about brujeria is from a Mexican perspective, which is nice because it's Latin American authors, but at the same time, it's like because Mexican people have a very strong presence and a very strong voice and a very strong community and a very strong culture here in the United States for obviously reasons. People assume that brujeria comes from just from Mexico, and if you practice any other kind of magic from other parts of Latin America, they just say that it's other way of witchcraft. It's like brujeria is if you are just Mexican, and for everybody else is witchcraft, and we are like, no, we actually don't use the word witchcraft. It's an English word. Here in the United States, I have been talking about this topic with my friends over and over and over, even with my husband and my English teacher about me. My English teacher is from India, and she have this beautiful perception about cultures and religion. She's have a lot of knowledge about this kind of topics, and talking with her about this is very nurturing. And my teacher says, like, yeah, it's the same in India. We have names for our own practices, and when people come from outside, we put those names in that people. But if you are in the United States, because here the history of racism, racial battles is so big and so much noise around, and also so much confusion about it, people need to tag everything. People here in the United States is obsessed with tags. You, if you are in your country, you say that you are a bruja, people assume that you have a certain amount of knowledge of certain things. Probably you practice divination, probably you do spell work, probably you practice magic with the moon or with the sun or with the trees or whatever. But you have an amount of diverse mixed knowledge of certain practices. Here in the United States, people don't want you to call yourself a brujo. They are like, you are a diviner, you are a tarot reader, you are a witch, a professional witch, an urban witch, an edge witch, you are a green witch, you are a white witch. And if you say that you are a white witch, like I used to say in Venezuela, I am a brujo blanco, because people call me that way, here is a racial thing. People will say you can't use that term because it's racism in there, because this goes to the Bible and the history and blah 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 yada 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 yada. Most of the times it's actually white people saying that. And if you say that you are a black witch, it's also a racial thing because the Bible, necromancy, blah blah blah, the word when you translate this from Greek to Latin, and it's like it's this all of this nonsense, boring theories that is so actually useless in life. And all of this disgusting, useless terminology, just to say you can use that word. You can say that you are a black witch, like you practice black magic, like dark magic. You need to be specific that you practice some kind of dark magic. And when you are in Latin America, it's just you're a brujo blanco, you're a brujo negro, you're a white witch, you're a black witch, you practice white magic, you practice black magic. We don't care anything else. all your stupid nonsense tasks that you use for attention, we don't really care about that. Here in the United States, you need to be extremely specific what kind of witch you are, from where comes your practice, because the racial conversation here is a whole cape that you put in the conversation. Every time that you sit down on the table, you need to put the cape. Like, you see these videos of people like, we are all so diverse and we are all witches in the same table and they are all white. And when you see the videos or the pictures, it's like all of them are white in the end. So it's like you are not so diverse as you think. And this is the same thing. It's a whole cape of racial conversation in there that you don't feel in other countries. Like if you go to Brazil, people have this very racist assumption that people from Brazil is black color, and many people in Brazil is not entirely black. They have a mixed color. It's even some people who is blonde and they have these beautiful featurings in their faces and their bodies from Brazilian blood is part of the mix. They don't have the beautiful black color, but they have all of these featurings. And if you are in Venezuela, we are white, we are black, we are brown in so many shades of brown. If you see my sisters, they don't look like me. If you see my mom is whiter than me. Actually, my mom is blonde, like literally real, natural blonde. And if you see my dad is very darker than me. I have all the featurings of my both grandpas. Every time that someone see a picture of my grandpa from my dad or from my mom, they say, you look like your grandpa. And it's both characters are entirely different, but I look like both of them. One is German, the other one comes from a very distant place. So when you are in Latin America, the conversation feels different, and people say, what kind of witch you are? A white witch, a black witch? Just that's the whole conversation. Then if you want to go deeper, you explain for yourself, because never nobody will ask to you if you are a santero, if you practice candomblé, if you practice ritual magic, if you practice telema, if you practice Wicca, if you practice whatever. Usually people don't care. I think that because we have all of this, and I always use this like an excuse, we have all of these financial complications in our countries. Like we have priorities to talk, that not just pass 2 hours developing who is the author who created this term and from where comes this terminology and why you are using this term and not this one. You are in telema, what that means, we really don't care. But when you are in North America, you need to be like extremely specific. We have a very big population of Asian communities in Venezuela, like extremely big. And every New Year, in the Chinese New Year, they go around the streets. This is something that I don't see in the United States. They have the Chinatown here where all the celebrations, but in Venezuela, people have this like different tradition. They walk the whole street, the whole boulevard. They have the dragon, and all people is masked and very dressed up. And they go inside of the stores and they give you a big red bag of gifts. They go local by local, every business store in the place, in the street, in the boulevard. When the owner store open the bag, it's a lot of amulets, charms, and stuff in there that you take with you to put in your house for good luck for the next year. Even I remember I was in this clothes store, and the store next to me was a shoes store of a very random brand that we have in there in Venezuela. And the owner was Christian, and I was like, I want to see her face. When these people come with chants and stuff and music, I just want to see her face. And I go to the door because it was the manager, so I was immediately like, I'm gonna take 5 minutes, you please stay here. I go to the store and she was like very nice. She was like, she was receiving, Happy New Year, she let them go, and then she gave the bag to one of the employees, like, you take care of that. Like, she was incredible, respectful. Here in the United States, you don't go to see that because people here goes to the extreme to let you know I am an evangelical Christian. You can't come here. And it's like, wow, okay, I'm sorry. They even look lack of manners when it's about this kind of conversations. Because we grow up, and I grew up in there, and has been more than 20 years of this. I used to have in my house a lot of Chinese magical charms, books, and stuff. And right now in my house, I have this pantry decorated with all Chinese stuff. So when any friend, neighbor, person come and you see it, it's like, oh, this is nice. Yeah, it's because from Venezuela we have blah 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 blah, blah. And they see it. It's nice. Nobody is like you are appropriating this culture. No, they don't do that. And I have even a wall with these two beautiful golden dragons. They are made in plastic, just painted like gold, and it's a nice form of a square, like in a diamond, with all the seven Chinese gods of good fortune in the wall. Is something for me, for my family, for my home. It's not something that I'm going to put out there in any picture because I don't want to stupid people saying stupid things. And it's something from my culture. It's something that Chinese culture is so friendly in my country that they give this to you and they are proud to give this to you because they are blessing you with good luck and good fortune. And when you have so many years and you are like me, a pagan, and you believe in so many gods, that it's not just the gods in my pantheon. I believe that your gods are pretty real and I have all the love and respect for them. And I'm not going to say to all of these gods, oh, I'm going to reject you now. No, I'm not going to give you a rejection. I need to have you in my life because I don't know when you put your hand over me and give you your blessing in the past. I know will be ungrateful, so I need to have you in my space. Just like Ganesha and all my deities around from different cultures because I come from a very multicultural country. The other countries are multicultural like Venezuela that I know is Colombia, which is like super diverse. Brazil is a more regional space. It's more like Brazilian culture everywhere. You don't see this like a lot of diversity there. But Venezuela and Colombia, because we are in the frontier with the sea, with the Caribbean, with all the islands, with the Trinidad and Tobago, we have all of this stuff coming from everywhere. So we have those two kind of witches. If you are here in the United States, people is like, you are a Wiccan, you was initiated, you are a witch with Wiccan inclinations, you are what kind of Wiccan? Are you Alexandrian, Garderian, blah blah blah? Are you a bruja? From where? Are you Puerto Rican? So you are a Puerto Rican witch, or you are an Caribbean witch, or you are a bruja, an indigenous bruja. Now it's people using this term. I am an indigenous bruja. Maybe you come from New Jersey. Your Spanish is the worst. You don't even know from where your family actually comes. But okay, you want to say that. And you have all of this rainbow of expressions from different places, and people need to live in this line between I'm so proud of my heritage, but at the same time it's like I need to be so respectful with you that every time that I meet you I need to explain myself over and over about all my whole history and practice and why I am why I feel that I have the permission to practice what I practice according to my own beliefs, to be nice with you, to be okay with you, which is a very confusing inner battle that people has. Every time that people comes to me, I just say like, oh, my typical question is what kind of witch you are, what kind of magic do you do? And they give me this so long, extremely accurate, a bit boring curriculum, and I'm like, okay, but what do you do? I'm Wiccan. Okay, now I have an idea of what you do. I'm not asking you your underwear color. I don't really care. When people ask me what kind of witchcraft, what kind of magic do you do? I do everything that I have learned, like everything. If I meet someone who is from not Russia, from Ukraine, and this person comes to me and teach me this amazing spell for good fortune, and tell me this is a spell that we do in there with this deity. Okay, and do you think that I can do it? Yes. Okay, perfect. I will do it. I will do it. And if the deity feels that can give me a blessing or something, that is in the deity, not in no one else. Because nobody here comes from any deity. Nobody here descends from aliens or deities. Everybody here is human being, and everybody here descends from the same humans in Africa. So I don't need your permission. And I feel like people here in the United States have a lot of extremely boundaries, which is very weird. Like you see people on internet like being so compassive and being so nice with everybody, and at the same time they are enforcing so much boundaries, and it's like your speech is confusing. It's everything about compassion and love and forgiveness, and we are equal, we should be together, but boundaries, respect the boundaries. Don't come from so close, and feels really awkward because when you come from an entirely different culture where people like is more approachable and it's more togetherness, and people is like we can hate each other but we continue doing the work, and here is like we hate each other so we go to destroy each other, we go against each other, we go to spread rumors and stuff via DMs every day, and we will tag you in every post on Facebook just because I'm bored in my house and nobody's paying attention to me, so I need to grab some attention, so I'm gonna destroy you, and it's like boring. So it's that, and it's like we have these two entirely different kinds of practice. You have the witches who actually practice whatever they do. They are busy doing their work, whatever it is, whatever you see it on internet or not, whatever you like it or not, whatever you believe on it or not. And you have these witches who are most about the theory, about the aesthetics, about how I look, about what I read. You need to look at me and see that I am a witch because that is part of my practice. And if you don't see that I look like a witch, I'm doing something wrong. I need to have all the stuff of a witch, and I need to look like a witch, and I need to work like a witch, and I need to repeat every day that I am a witch because I don't know, probably we will forget. And they need to sell you the book, and they need to pray for the book, and everything around the books, and everything is about witchcraft. It's like a little bit obsessive, so much. But I understand here in the United States, people have so much pop culture. Like I had said so many times, here people watch too much TV, and they are so much trying to represent something that they see in TV that like they lack of the practice because they are just busy watching TV, essentially. When people ask me about which crystal is this one, oh, I think that is a pink quartz. It's definitely not a pink amethyst, and it's definitely not a red jasper or a red onyx. But we can take it. I mean, the spell says that should be a pink crystal, so we can take this one. People is like, no, you can do that. You need to investigate exactly from where this crystal comes and which kind of crystal is, and not just for the properties, but which is the mine from where this comes. This comes from Africa. This comes from upstate New York. This comes from India. It's a lot of discourse in there that feels so odd at the same time. Like you are really here for the practice of the witchcraft, the craft, the part of the craft, or you are just here for the boring theory. Are you an anthropologist or what? It's boring, and for me it's entirely nonsense. And people can disagree, and they have all their permission to disagree, but I think that if you will practice witchcraft, you need to put in your hands in your craft. And it's that. It's when I remember when people comes to say, oh, we have all of these types of witches, and who cares? Because at the same, I have 8 years here, and I had learned something is we have too many types of witches. At the same time, we don't have enough types of witches because we have so much extremely diversity that is beautiful. Why do you need to put a tag on everything? It's like this typical discourse that the god, the goddess, the god, whatever is your deity, create the race create races, the race create all of this racial stuff. And something that I have noted for the past 3 years. My friend warned me about it, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna pay attention. Then I start paying attention, and this was 3 years ago, because this was another conversation. And my friend says to me, you will note that in the United States, a lot of white people say I descend from aliens, I come from aliens, it's everything about aliens, aliens culture. You will not see black people saying that they descend from aliens. This thing, some of them that they descend from pharaohs directly, and pharaohs were black. The pharaohs mythologically descend from the gods. Um, but they have so much time and social problems reclaiming their own heritage, their own culture, like we are black, we are beautiful, we are powerful, we are strong, even stronger, we are smart, even smarter, uh, we are kind, they are the kindest people in the world, and we are the original race from Africa, blah, blah, blah. We have so much problems to make people understand that we really don't have the time to make them believe that we're aliens. But you will see white people repeating over and over about alien culture, alien heritage, alien religion. They have alien cults here in the United States. Very odd. And you see from what side the black people are reclaiming we are human beings, we just want to have the same rights as everyone else, and because the white people, they have all the rights, they just feel like we don't really care about this, so we are looking forward, we want to say that we are aliens, we are beyond humans, we are extremely, I don't know, universal, uh, with a lot of lack of diversity. And you see that in TV shows, the few that I see is like, all the aliens are white, right? People don't know that this, but when you come from a different country and you see shows like I try to watch because it was very popular, and one day I just sit down to see Once Upon a Time because everybody was talking about this show, and it was like, what can be so cool in the show? So I just sit down and I could pass the episode because everybody in the show was white, was extremely white. And the way how they speak was so unreal, and the entitlement in some characters, and it was like I can see this. So I see the first episode was like meh. I see the second episode was like I see the episode and was like meh again. So I just stopped watching it, and I just said to my partner, "This is so racist. This kind of show is so racist," and everybody's talking about the show. And I remember my partner saying, "Yeah, like most Americans, they are racist, but they don't know what, and if you ask, they will say always, no, I'm not racist. I have this Mexican friend because they have always this Latin Hispanic token to defend them. Like, I'm not a racist person, but I have this person in my life with who I don't talk from months, but it's my best friend, and that not make you less racist. And at the same time, you see how this reflect in the culture. They are trying to be so diverse and show that they approach so much tags out there that they continue putting tags because they need to keep everybody separate, like in little jails, very American. Put the children in jails. Let me put everybody separate. Let me put everybody with a different tag. And if you are a weak if you're a Wiccan, you can be black, you can't. But if you choose to be Wiccan being black, then we put you in this other box where you are a black Wiccan. If you practice this kind of Wiccan or this other one, you need to be separate, and we need to, in every conversation, remember to say which kind of Wiccan you are, because you don't want to be compared with the other ones. You are a witch or you are a bruja, or you are both. Yeah, I am identified like both because I come from Latin America. I learned brujeria in there with my mom. I come from the mountains. I smoke tobacco every day to my spirits. At the same time, I have a Wiccan practice and I was initiated. So also you are a brujo slash witch slash Wiccan slash tarot reader slash blah blah blah. Well, I am older than I'm very old, and I have the time to learn all of this stuff. So and I practice practically everything every day. So is the tag so important? People say, yeah, you need to have the tag. And for me, it's like, I'm just a human being practicing magic. Just that. Like a lot of people out there. And the tag, I don't really get. I can go in any meeting and people is like, he's some kind of sorcerer, yeah. He's some kind of witch, yeah. He's like a witchy stuff thing. Yeah, I am. He's Wiccan. Yeah, I am. Oh, he's a brujo. Yeah, I am. He's an old school practitioner. I am. I don't really care the tags that you put on it. It's like with the pronouns, I am he, him, just that. I identify like a gay man. I like men, just that. I'm simply like that. I'm boring like that. And I'm proud to be boring. Um, my besties, most of them are he, him. Some of them are she, her. Some of them are they. If you feel nice with that tag, yes, okay, well, everybody okay. Just that I really don't need to know all the background. If you come to me crying, I'm not gonna ask you because I am Latino and we are like that. I'm not gonna ask you to tell me everything about how you feel in that way. From where comes your trauma? Have you been talking with someone? Do you need therapy? I'm not so cold hearted like that. I am like you're crying. I know it. I can hug you. It's something I can do in this moment. In my possibilities to make you feel better, wherever you need. Yes, okay, tell me what I can do. Do you need me to kill someone? Do you need me to punch someone? Do you need me to hug you? Do you need me to make you some food? And you will say, yes, I need this. Perfect. Let me make it for you. Here it is. Now you feel better. Now you want to talk. I don't want to talk. Okay, take your time. And we talk when you feel better to talk. If you want to, do you want me to call someone to talk with you? And you will say yes, or you will say no, and they will say, okay, whenever you feel better, just let me know. Because Latinos, we are like that. We don't care about which was the source of the problem, we care about the solution. People here is, you are crying, why are you crying? So we need to put the tag in there, and this again, the speech, the question, what kind of witch you are, how many types of witches are. Don't care how many tags you put on yourself to identify yourself. You are much more than that, and the tag is just a little side of yourself that you are showing. I am a human being, yes, but also you are a mother, a father, a son, a daughter, a sister, a brother, and that kind of things give you certain level of knowledge that other people don't have. I grow up being the younger of six that give me certain level of knowledge and practice. Also, I am the one man, all the others are women that give me a lot of expertise in the area, working with women, living with women, talking with women, that give me certain level of knowledge that other people don't have, that give me certain social skills that other people don't have, that give me certain levels of sensitivity that other men don't have, even being gay, that people just take for granted. All those kind of things affect you, and when you put a tag on yourself, because I need to identify for the validation of other, I am this kind of witch, you are just dismissing all the other parts of yourself. In the end of the day, we are just human beings practicing witchcraft, trying to learn and trying to practice and trying to do better and trying to teach others in a better way to do things. Hey, this result is not result, but you don't go to learn if something is result or not if you are just reading the book. You don't go to learn anything in there. So every time that people come to ask me, because it's the second time, and they ask me that, I just start laughing and I say that in the same time, how many types of witches are that I know is just two kinds of witches, just two types. The ones who can help you to do a spell work, and the other ones that you will never call for help. That you know that when you need something, this is the witch I'm gonna call, because it's something that is someone that I know who is actually practicing. And these are the other ones that I will never ask for anything, because they just go to tell me everything is mental, you just be okay, you just relax, you just free, let the magic flows, let blah 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 blah. And it's like, you really don't practice anything, right? Thanks for telling me. That, it's like, if I'm calling you, it's because I literally expend all my other options. So I'm calling you because I need help, and you're just telling me breathe and relax. Probably when the person called you, actually the person did that. And all of this witch aesthetics will not help. So is those two type of witches, and every time that you are putting a tag in there is a whole background behind that tag that you are bringing to the conversation. And then we can, okay, how do you feel about coming from that group of people who is mostly white, sometimes a little bit racist? How do you feel about, or sometimes it's like, I am Wiccan, but I'm not very close to the practice. I am a brujo, so from where part of Latin America? Well, actually, I'm born in the United States, which is totally okay. But you are reclaiming a word when you actually don't even know or pronounce really good the language. It's weird. I'm not saying you can do it. I will never say that. But feels weird because I have met people who says to me, I am Puerto Rican, I am a bruja. And then I start talking in Spanish and they can't follow the conversation. I'm like, okay, so you are what kind of bruja exactly? An American bruja? And no, I just born here, I just visit 2, 3 times in the past, so you don't know the language. So what kind of brujeria do you do? Because I really want to know which are like your rainbow of skills. And they're like, I do this with candles, and I do that. So you are like a very Wiccan Western approach for what you are describing because you work with pendulums and tarot cards and this and that, but you do this, no, you do this, no, you do this, no. So you are like a witch with an Hispanic heritage. Yes, I am that, I am a bruja. Interesting. Okay. If you are happy with that, you can be happy. It's not my problem. At the end of the day, that don't make me like stop eating or anything. It was just that I just was having this conversation with my friend. I was like, I need just rant a little bit about it. And it's new moon, so then my friend goes and I say I need to sit down to drop all of this information because my brain is like trying to vomit right now. And after that, I can do my cleansing. I have some watermelons to do a beautiful bath with sugar, with honey, and that will be so sweet. And after that, we light some candles, yellow candles for Oshun, with some very beautiful sunflowers. And after that, I need to take an offering to the river and come back to smoke some tobaccos for a cleansing for another client. And after that, I have some fruits, and red cherries for dinner to recharge because every time that you smoke tobacco for cleansing takes so many hours. Three tobaccos for cleansing, 3 for good fortune for every client. So in the end, I will be like totally dry and dead, and I will need a lot of sugar in my body. So just that, stay well, stay safe, stay wild, be kind with yourself. Bye. Love you.